10 things millionaires do that the middle class does not. This includes the number one habit of high performers, the number one habit ever. Hey, my name is Craig Ballantyne. I'm going to drop all of this knowledge on you today. I have worked with entrepreneurs for over 25 years, and my goodness, I have learned a ton, but also I've built multiple businesses and, written multiple best-selling books. So, I've lived the life. And today on this episode of Early to Rise Radio, you are going to get, 10 massive differences between people that stay stuck and struggling and those people that 10x their income and their impact. So the other week I posted how I spend my days as an entrepreneur with 3 kids under 3. And I spend 37% of my waking hours with my wife and kids. I spend 12% of my time with my wife. So we get about an hour and a bit every day. I spend 19% of my time, about 90 minutes to 2 hours writing. I spend about an hour selling, hour and a bit, exercising an hour and a bit, reading an hour a bit, and Peppa Pig takes up about 2% of my day, unfortunately. If it was up to my wife, it'd be 0, but we let our 3-year-old have a little bit of Peppa Pig. So that's how I spend my day. It's not a lot of work, but during all of this, I'm often thinking and figuring things out because the millionaire mind never stops. I'm able to do that. I'm able to spend nearly 50% of my day is spent with my wife and kids. Sometimes it's just with my wife, and sometimes my kids are with us, and sometimes just me and my kids, because I work in the house and I have from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. is with the kids, and from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is with the kids, and usually an hour within there. I put the kids to bed for their nap every single day. I have designed my life, and that's the millionaire mindset, is designing your life for maximum time freedom, creative freedom, and financial freedom. That's what it's all about. And I've got it, and I want to give it to you because listen, I was a poor, broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge drinking farm boy who became a personal trainer of all things. And yet I still was able to step by step get to where I am today. I'm not the richest person in the world, but I am very rich in terms of the people. I made a post on December 31st of 2024 that my net worth was $5 trillion, right? My wife, each one of my kids, and my health, all are worth $1 trillion. You give me $1 trillion and I still wouldn't even give you any of those things. And you can have a multiple $1 trillion net worth too. All right. How are we going to do this? This is really the difference between trillionaires and middle class mindset. Number one is that millionaires plan and prepare the next day, the day before, and the middle class just wakes up and wings it. Some people are good, make their to-do list in the morning, but if you make your to-do list in the morning, you're already too late because you have the greatest discipline, willpower, and intention first thing in the morning. And if you're just figuring out what the heck you're going to do with your time, you're wasting that really, really valuable, what I call magic time. And Mark Twain had this great phrase: if your job is to eat a frog, best thing to do is eat that frog first thing in the morning. If your job is to eat 2 frogs, best thing to do is eat the biggest frog first. And what he meant by that is if you have a hard task to do it as early as possible in the morning, because the longer the day goes on, the more you procrastinate, the more your willpower slips away. Do it in the morning. And you go a step back further, and the people that are really successful, they plan and prepare the day before. So whether you prepare at lunchtime today for tomorrow, there's nothing wrong with doing it at lunchtime. You should have a pretty good idea of what your day is going to look like. And it's better for you to do it early and slightly incomplete than to forget to do it at 5 o'clock at the end of your workday because you want to get home. And I see this all the time, especially in entrepreneurs with young kids. I even wrote about this in one of my books, that if you keep on missing your planning, do it as early as possible in the day, even if it is incomplete. So that is definitely the first thing. Now, if you have a hard time staying focused, what you need to do is use the Opal app. I don't get paid any money. I should get paid. I should get $1 billion a year from these guys because I've mentioned them in The Dark Side of Discipline. I've mentioned them a million times on a million different podcasts. And this Opal app has 4 million downloads. It has a 4.8 star review, 100,000 app ratings. It's a crazy amount. And the Opal app, the reason why I bring it up is because it helps with the second difference between millionaires and the middle class. I was just on a podcast this morning with a guy named Justin Chung from Toronto. Awesome dude. Really connected with him really well. He's in the real estate space and he has a podcast called Money Dad. And he asked me you've coached a lot of people. You coach thousands of people, Craig. What are some of the big keystone habits? And I said, man, you're going to laugh. Just get to bed on time. Because if you don't get to bed on time, you knock down a little negative domino by getting out of bed late. And then you knock down a bigger negative domino because you're running around rushing, you eat poorly. Then you knock down a bigger negative domino, because you get stuck in traffic. Because if you would have gotten up on time, you could have left on time, but you left late, so you got stuck in traffic. By the time you get to the office, you're yelling at Susie, and everything's just another negative domino, all the way down till you're kicking the dog at 7 o'clock at night, right? And so if you just would have got to bed on time the night before, which means using the reverse alarm, an hour before bedtime, alarm goes off on your phone, you shut down all your electronics, stop watching Netflix, stop using your laptop, stop being on Facebook, stop arguing on the internet, internet, and you get to bed on time. You sleep well, you get up on time. You might even get up early. You work on your number one project, you get to work on time, everything goes great. So man, just use the Opal app if you have a hard time at night and not scrolling. And so you set up your phone with the Opal app, so you're not allowed to use any social media, you're not allowed to use Netflix, and block yourself because you have to go to extremes in order to conquer what's destroying your dreams. Here's another thing that, I actually have clients that have bought this sonic bomb. It's actually called the Sonic Bomb alarm clock. It has 31,000 ratings on Amazon, 4.3 rating with 31,000 ratings. That is insane. That means they've sold hundreds of thousands of these things. $67. Bed shaker, vibrating alarm clock for heavy sleepers, wake with a shake, sonic bomb, unbelievable. 67, man, this is like nearly a 9, maybe there's other stuff that they sell. And this is only I'm saying they've sold a few 100,000 because they have 31,000 reviews. They may have sold 1 million copies of this thing for like nearly $100 million. Unbelievable. And why do I bring this up? Because number 3, the difference between the middle class and the millionaires is that millionaires attack the morning and the middle class throws away their magic time. What did I say before? You have the greatest discipline, willpower, and intention first thing in the morning. And over the day, you get an energy trough is what it's called. You're tired at 2 o'clock. Now imagine trying to do your most important work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Did you write your essays in college at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? No, you either did a good job. It's unlikely you got up early in the morning and wrote them, but you should have. No, instead you wrote them late at night when you have a deadline of trying to get to bed, deadline of like midnight to turn it in. Nobody does work in the afternoon. And so, the Spanish are onto something with siestas because they know it's useless time. But the middle class, they sleep late and then they have a little bit of time where they kind of get into something and then they're tired. So, if you have to use a sonic boom alarm clock, by all means, go ahead. You might get divorced, but, at least get you out of bed. Unbelievable. 31,000 reviews. Number 4, the difference between the millionaires and the middle class is that millionaires automate, delegate, and eliminate, and the middle class does everything themselves to save money. My mom's 84. No, wait, she's 83, turning 83. Just turned 83? Yeah, something like that. And she has an acre, big house on an acre. She lives by herself. And she gets her 86-year-old brother to cut the lawn. 86 years old. And my mom's out there with a push mower, 2 knee replacements out there, push mowing. Mom, can you just use some of your money and hire somebody to cut your lawn? But she can't. She cleans her house herself, hired a cleaning lady for a day, fired her, and then the cleaning lady wrote her an angry letter. It's just the old school way of doing things. And it's not the right way of doing things. So you need to automate. If you're an entrepreneur, you're automating things. With AI, it's easier than ever. But automating your email delivery, automate your meal delivery, automate your laundry pickup and delivery. You can use this Poppy or Popley company, and it's like $1 a pound. You just put your laundry out, they come and pick it up, they drop it off. Like everything can be automated and delegated and eliminated today. This is what we teach our clients: the automation, delegation, and elimination formula. Everything from leadership, running meetings, to sales and marketing. You can't do it all. And you have to automate, delegate, and eliminate, because the 5 words that will kill an entrepreneur, literally kill an entrepreneur: I will do it myself. If you do everything yourself, you'll be super stressed. Your marriage will disintegrate and you'll have nothing. So you need to learn how to do that. If you don't know how to do this, you need to come to one of our events. This is what we coach people on. So just comment mastermind down below. We have 3 live events every year and we'll get you to one of them. Okay, the 5th difference is that millionaires find solutions, and unfortunately, the middle class plays the blame game, right? They complain and it's blame game. And you see this with politics. The middle class is obsessed with politics in thinking that if they vote one bunch of bums out and vote another bunch of bums in, something's going to change. It's always rigged against you. So why get so worked up on it? Instead, go and find solutions for your own life. You can design your own economy. You can design your own life. You can design your own freedom. And yes, obviously there's laws and rules that you have to play by, but you can generally ignore that stuff if you have the right mindset about it. Next, number 6. Actually, I need to comment here. I have made a post the other day, very popular post, that goes back to what I wrote about in The Dark Side of Discipline. Discipline is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problem. Now, if you are a middle class person, you play the blame game, and therefore, because it's somebody else's fault, then you don't put any effort into your problems. And that's the easy way out. But if you are a serious, successful person, a high performer, you want to be a millionaire, multimillionaire, then what you do is you keep on always trying to break through the theory of constraints. There's always a bottleneck. There's always a constraint in your business, in your personal life, in your fitness. And you identify that constraint and you work on breaking through it. Every constraint is the level 10 problem. And you must put a level 10 effort into it in order to beat it. And if you're doing doing anything else other than putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problem, it's a perverse form of procrastination. Doesn't matter if you work out twice a day. If your marriage is cold and you're on the verge of divorce, the workouts are just entertainment. They're procrastination, and they are not actually moving you forward on solving your level 10 problem. So level 10 problem is clearly define your biggest problem in life, then write down everything so that it would look like you're putting a level 10 effort into it. It might be 20 bullet points, it might be 20 things, and they go, okay, all right, now I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to start with the most important one, the next one, the next one, and then, give that effort. All right, number 6, millionaires say no and stay focused. And middle class is crazy busy. No white space on your calendar. Your calendar looks like a unicorn vomited bag of skills, right? There's no white space, like maybe a sliver of white, and everything else is like purple, green, yellow, blue, brown meetings and things to do on your calendar. And you're crazy busy. You got lots of activity, but no accomplishment. So there's a picture of my wife here, if you're watching on YouTube, and there she is reading my Dark Side of Discipline book. We did a photo shoot with the kids on a Wednesday afternoon. Maybe it's Thursday afternoon. I can't remember. Every day is kind of the same around here. But we did it on our own time. Freedom. And we said no to a bunch of things, stayed focused on the things that matter, which is financial freedom, my family, creative time. Number 7, millionaires go the extra mile for answers. So when I had my anxiety attacks in 2006, because I lived a very imperfect life for a long time, binge drinking and all that sort of stuff, hypocritical behavior, and I had the anxiety attacks, it was a wake-up call. And I turned over every rock, right? Like, what do a lot of people do? They go to the doctor, give me a pill, get rid of my anxiety. Anxiety is a joke. If you have anxiety, it's brought on by yourself and your own behaviors, and anybody can get rid of it. Once you get rid of anxiety, you'll laugh at it. I laugh at anxiety today. Nothing can give me anxiety because I have all the tools to get rid of it. Now, depression, I don't touch. I don't comment on it because I think it's a totally different thing. I think there's medical depression. I think that that's a serious thing. But anxiety, I have no respect for it. And I think that what I did will work for everybody is I went the extra mile for answers. I did Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, meditation, everything. I stopped all my bad habits and I got rid of it. It's because I really needed how to learn how to breathe. And that was a huge component of it, journaling and that sort of stuff. But I went the extra mile. I did everything, doing Qigong on Church Street. So in Church Street in Toronto is like, it's the gay district. And so I was going to this guy's apartment and he had a piano and he smoked cigarettes and taught me Qigong. It was super bizarre, right? Super bizarre. I would never choose to go into that person's apartment for any other reason other than the fact that it's possible he had the solution to my anxiety. Maybe that was the thing. Anyways, but what did the middle class do? They stay home and hope, right? They stay home and hope. They take the pill. It doesn't work. I have this saying that, the worst place for an entrepreneur to be is on Lonely Entrepreneur Island. It's staying home. If you're an entrepreneur who's stuck and struggling, it's probably because you're staying home. You don't go to events. I'm very introverted by nature, introverted tendencies, and I still go to events. And I'm not the person out there schmoozing, but I at least strike up a few conversations and I make connections, and being in the room is far more valuable than staying home. So get off the couch, get off Lonely Entrepreneur Island and get to our mastermind events. Go the extra mile for the answers that you need if you want to become a multimillionaire. Otherwise, you're going to stay middle class. Number 8, shrug off criticism. I'm criticizing the middle class here, and the middle class is getting really upset by it. But the person who is currently middle class and is going to be a millionaire is like, he's got some points, but it's like, maybe it's just a big mouth. I don't care, but there's a few nuggets in here I'm going to take, and I'm going to take action on everything else that, maybe I disagree with, but whatever. He's just some guy on the internet. Whereas the middle class, oh man, I hate this guy. And, oh man, and it's the same as when they try and do something and somebody criticizes them, then they just like, oh man, I hate that person. And then they just stop. So you cannot, get a 1 out of 10 attitude when somebody criticizes you. You got to shrug it off. I have been insulted thousands of times on the internet by people who, use anonymous names on email, social media of all types. People have insulted my dog, called my wife names. Like, this can happen. And, it's unacceptable when anybody calls my wife a name, of course, but, I can't reach out and punch them. But we got to shrug it off and get back to business. And especially when it's criticism about you cannot be hurt by it. So you got to learn how to shrug off the criticism and don't let the critics crush your dreams. Number 9 is you got to elevate your social circle. You need people in your life that are ahead of you, people that have a bigger vision, people that are more experienced, that are out of your league, and you need to be exposed to these new levels so you can go to the next level. I once was in a mastermind with Bedros Keuilian, Jason Capital, and Sharran Srivatsaa. We rented a private jet. I've only been on a private jet a few times in my life. We rented one from Orange County to Phoenix. It was barely much more expensive than flying on Southwest, because there was 4 of us and we were crammed in this tiny little thing. But we had a great mastermind session on the way to the mastermind. And I elevated my social circle. We were just getting to know Sharran at that time, and he came up with this idea. It was great. On the flip side, what middle class people do is they stay tight with toxic people. And if I would have stayed tight with toxic people who dragged me down to more drinking, I'd be a drunk. My father was killed by alcohol, and he stayed tight with the wrong wrong people. And eventually just, is a loner alcoholic, unfortunately. And it cut 20 years off his life and embarrassed my family. And all he had to do was elevate his social circle to people that didn't drink. And there are people that don't drink. If you want to be a millionaire, you can't hang around middle class all the time. You can spend some time with them. I spend time with middle class people all the time. My best friends, my family, go to, holidays and that type of stuff. But I don't let them drag me down into gossip and, watching sports and all this stuff that I think is a waste of time. Instead, I spend time with non-drinkers, people that have more money than me, people that are incredibly important to the community, people that are great authors, people that are well connected. And again, I was once a socially anxious binge drinking personal trainer who was a farm boy originally, and I was still able to build a great network. And so you can too. And finally, number 10, the millionaires get accountability, hardcore accountability on their goals from people they do not want to disappoint. Whereas the middle class is too scared to even share their dreams. And if you don't share your dreams and you keep all your dreams inside, you're the easiest person to let down. I have talked about this repeatedly on podcasts. There's 2 ways to get hardcore accountability. 1, find somebody you deeply do not want to disappoint. That's your coach, your mentor. And you tell them, I'm going to do XYZ by ABC date. You hold me to it. Hold me to following through. And they will, and you will follow through. And that's the secret ingredient. The other thing is you can join our community. You can join any community, and you can stand up in front of the community and say, hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Boy, and I'm struggling with this right now. And in 12 weeks, I'm going to accomplish this. And I need you to hold me accountable. And if you have any integrity, you are going to follow through, because people of integrity, when you say you're going to do something, you don't want people to think you're a hypocrite because it gives you anxiety. And so sharing those dreams with people that you don't want to disappoint, it's a game changer. This is our Unstoppable Mastermind. All of our coaches are there, and our clients stand up and say, we're going to do this by the next event. And they do it. A lot of things get in their way, but they always follow through. And that's the key. Now I got a bonus for you. Number 11 is that millionaires decide and act fast, and the middle class takes forever. Listen, you might stumble, you might have a setback, but you can't take forever to get back on track. You must always be taking action and moving forward, because success loves speed, and delay kills your dreams. It absolutely does. Absolutely does. If I would have delayed on, coming out and meeting Michelle when I got introduced to her, who knows? Maybe I would have lost her. I was living in Toronto. She lived in Vancouver. I could have said, oh, that's too far. I don't know. Maybe I'll be out there next year. No, instead I just got on an airplane in like 2 weeks and came in Sour. And the rest is history. 3 kids later, 3 kids, 3 countries later, here we are in Vancouver, living the dream. And I want the same for you. So I want you to go back, review these 11 habits here, the differences between the millionaires and the middle class. And I want you to identify the ones that are holding you back the most. And the ones that are holding you back the most are the ones you need to attack the most, that you need to get the accountability on. So I want to give a personal invite to people that have 7-figure businesses or more. We have events coming up, April 24th, 25th, 2025 in Miami. That one is sold out, but people drop out last minute. So send me a message on Instagram at @RealCraigBallantyne, or, drop mastermind down below this video. September 18th and 19th, this one, fortunately, I don't have to travel for. It's here in my adopted hometown of Vancouver. January 8th and 9th of 2026, we're going to be either in Vegas or Arizona, so Scottsdale area. And then April 30th and May 1st of 2026, location to be determined. Please, if you need to get it off Lonely Entrepreneur Island, you really need to get it off soon, Success Loves Speed, and get to our September 18th to 19th event, because that's the one we have seats for. All right. This was a lot of fun. I know I was very passionate about it because I had to live this podcast before I could make this podcast. I had all the middle class habits and they held me back, and now I don't, and I have freedom, and I want freedom for you. All right. So drop mastermind down below. We'll see you at one of our events very soon, and hit me up on Instagram at @RealCraigBallantyne. Thanks for listening to the Early to Rise podcast. Share this with a friend, and we'll see you on the other side.